Stellar, ticker XLM. Probably one of the most confusing cryptocurrencies out there on the market right now. It's been around forever. It actually works, and it's partnered with major institutions. And yet, price action has been brutally underwhelming. Brutally underwhelming, guys. So the question heading into 2026 isn't what is Stellar? It's why hasn't it broken out yet? And does it finally have a chance to break through in 2026? So let's break it down. What's up, everyone? Welcome back to Ledger Prime. Today, we are taking a deep dive into Stellar, or XLM, and where it realistically could be headed in 2026. No moon math, no hype, no hopium, just straight up probabilities rooted in reality. So today we're going to cover quickly what Stellar actually does, why XLM has lagged the market, what has to change for a real breakout. We're going to also cover the bull case, the base case, and the bear case price scenarios for 2026. So let's dig in. First of all, what is Stellar? What does it do? Why is it going to be used? Because the only way prices are going to go up is if people start using it. So Stellar was built for one thing, guys: cross-border payments, fast transactions, near zero fees, designed to move value between banks, payment providers, and individuals. Okay, and I believe the key thing that is going to move it is the individual side of it. Although it can cover everything else, the individual, person-to-person, everyday transactions are what Stellar is going to excel at. So if that sounds familiar, I mean it should, because Stellar and XRP share very similar goals. You guys might have thought I was describing XRP, talking about moving value between banks, cross-border payments, but Stellar is going to thrive at the individual level. So Stellar focuses more, like I said, on the retail side, remittances, and financial inclusion, while XRP leans heavy into institutional settlement. That's the key difference. And Stellar's not flashy. It, along with XRP, is infrastructure. And infrastructure rarely pumps on these narratives alone. So why has it struggled? Why has XLM struggled to gain footing, traction? Price seems like it's just going sideways, which is boring, right? We want to see our bags go up. Sometimes we need to be patient. And Stellar has been frustrating for long-term holders for a while. Well, new layer one's exploded on hype. XLM, flat. But why is that? We need to understand the why, not just get frustrated with price that doesn't move. So why is it flat? First, it doesn't have aggressive marketing. It does not play the influencer game. Second, and this is where you have to look at when you're evaluating a token, tokenomics, supply, circulating supply. Does it make more? Is the supply capped? For XLM, it has a large circulating supply. And that large supply kind of caps explosive upside potential unless the demand grows significantly. So because there's so many tokens out there, demand needs to skyrocket for price to move. Third, it has overlapping use cases. It constantly gets compared to XRP. Just like in the intro of this video, you probably thought I was describing XRP. And it kind of sounded exactly like it. And investors usually like to pick one. Okay, they don't want to dip their toes in two different pools. Right? They want to pick one that they have conviction around. And a lot of people, a lot of investors and individual investors have chosen XRP. And finally, XLM has no ETF narrative. In a world where Bitcoin and Ethereum and recently XRP are sucking up institutional capital, XLM has not been there. They have not been the stop for big money. There's no ETF for the big boys to play in XLM. And that also is tough. So what's going to change heading into 26? You're holding a bag of XLM. You believe in it. Is anything going to change? And this is where things could get a little interesting. Stellar has expanded, albeit quietly. I mean, it's kind of quiet. USDC is on Stellar now. And that's big. Stablecoins are going to be big. But stablecoins don't move on their own. They need a network to function on. And Stellar and USDC now work together. They also have some partnerships with other fintechs and remittance platforms. Tokenization initiatives for real world assets, which is a big narrative. In 2026, I'm coming out with 3 or 4 big narratives and the stories behind them. Tokenization for real world assets is a big narrative for 26 and beyond. Stellar also has in growth on-chain payments and wallet usage. The numbers are going up. Good sign. So Stellar's not trying to be everything, right? No chain is going to do everything. There are going to be a lot of winners in this space, but you need to pick the winner. Okay? Stellar is trying to be reliable plumbing, and we like infrastructure bets. Okay? They move slow, but they stay around. So 2026, what do we need to see in Stellar? What do we need to see happen to make us some money, for the price to go up? More stablecoin regulation. We need the Clarity Act. Demand for compliant payment rails. Growth in emerging market remittances. Stellar will suddenly become relevant again if that stuff happens. And it's not going to be exciting. It'll just become relevant again. So crypto doesn't move in isolation. You know, by 2026, we're going to be likely dealing with lower interest rates than 23 and 24. Continued currency debasement concerns. They're going to print more dollars, right? They're going to print more money and debase the currency. Governments are going to want faster payment rails. There's going to be increased regulatory clarity. And that environment doesn't just favor meme coins. It favors utility. And if capital will rotate from speculation into infrastructure, think your XRPs, infrastructure, Ethereum, Arbitrum, Optimism, SEI, SUI, anything that provides Chainlink, provides financial plumbing and infrastructure should benefit. But with XLM, it is still a big if. Even if things go right, XLM, it has an uphill battle. So XLM topped 94 cents in the 2021 bull market. Since then, it spends most of its time just grinding sideways. Boring. But that tells us 2 things. Stellar's not dead, right? A lot of times these coins, they think they're dead, but they keep building. Solana. Everybody thought Solana was dead. No, now Solana's massive. So Stellar's not dead. It is still building. The market, though, is not convinced it's essential yet. Okay, remember in the beginning, we talked about individual transactions, retail payments. We're not there yet. We're not even close to there yet. Until your wife or your husband or your kids start talking about stable coins and know what they are and that they can pay, we're not even close to retail yet. So this psychology and that adoption is critical. I don't know if I quite see it happening in 26. It could, but we need large scale retail volume. So let's go into our price scenarios. That's why we're all here. Bear case, 15 cents to 25 cents, right? Retail interest just remains low. And it's not that people aren't interested. It's just they're not ready for it yet. The infrastructure is not ready for large scale mass retail adoption. XRP will dominate the payment narrative. No major regulatory catalyst. XLM remains useful, but not ignored. This is the slow bleed out scenario. I don't want that scenario. All right, here's what we want. We want the base case. Base case, I see XLM 40 to 60 cents, right? We still see steady adoption. Stablecoin usage grows. No hype, but constant demand, right? It's picking up. There's stories, partnerships, right? USDC's on XLM. Maybe they pick up another stablecoin. Maybe they work with PayPal. Something happens. Okay, no hype, but consistent demand and partnerships. Macro conditions for crypto as a whole improve. This would still be a strong return from current levels, just not explosive, massive upside. And the bull case, guys, 80 cents to $1.25. Clear regulatory clarity for stablecoins. Clear regulatory clarity comes in early 2026. Large-scale remittance adoption. Capital rotation into payment focused cryptos. People start putting their money into infrastructure and not memes. A broader crypto bull cycle forms. This requires real demand, not just Facebook posts. So here are the risks to watch. Stellar, it faces a lot of them, right? Being overshadowed by XRP is a big one. Lack of aggressive ecosystem incentives. Why is a developer going to want to go work on that network? Why are they going to choose Stellar when there's many other to pick from? Okay, they need incentives to work on the ecosystem. Competition from CBDCs, private payment rails, investor fatigue with old projects, right? You lose their attention. Investors want something new, flashy, that they see is going to solve a problem. Stellar's old. Even though it's still useful, it's old. Because utility alone doesn't it doesn't guarantee price is going to go up. So you could have the best token and network in the world. Doesn't guarantee anything. So here's the final verdict. Stellar's not your lottery ticket. It's not. It is another slow burn infrastructure play like XRP. It's going to take a long time to mature, to work through the system, right? The big banks and the big boys are going to have to move first and then roll it out to retail. This is a long, multi-years play. So if crypto in 26 rewards hype, XLM is going to underperform. If it rewards real-world utility and compliant payment rails, XLM could surprise, right? I'm saying it moves sideways. But you do your own research, because the key question here is simple. Will the market finally value what Stellar does, or keep chasing the next shiny thing? That's what 2026 is going to decide for us. Now guys, if this breakdown helped, please hit likes and subscribe for more no-nonsense crypto analysis, and drop a comment down below with your XLM price target for 2026, and I will see you in the next one.